Carla's hand trembled slightly as she grabbed the doorknob. That room, at the end of the corridor, had always been an enigma to her, a place shrouded in an oppressive and mysterious silence. I wish you a good viewing, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next exciting stories. Carla was a 40-year-old nurse, a strong and determined woman who had dedicated her life to helping others. After years of sacrifice, she had finally managed to enter the prestigious hospital in Verona, one of the best in Italy, a dream she had nurtured since she was a young nursing student. But behind his kind smile and his dedication to his work, he hid a deep pain, a wound that had never completely healed. A few years earlier, Carla's life had changed drastically. Her marriage to Roberto, a charming and wealthy man, had begun as a fairy tale. They had fallen madly in love and shortly after had a son, Matteo. For Carla, Matteo was everything. Her love for him was so deep that she often wondered if it was possible for a heart to contain so much affection without exploding. And yet, as time went by, her relationship with Roberto deteriorated. The misunderstandings became insurmountable, and what had once been love had turned into resentment. After a long and painful legal battle, Carla had obtained custody of Matteo, but the victory had been short-lived. Roberto, blinded by the desire for revenge, had used all his influence and resources to take Matteo away from Carla, exploiting a legal pretext when she, due to work, had been late to pick up her son from school. Even though she had never stopped fighting, her determination to stay close to Matteo had pushed her to find a way to re-enter his life, even if it meant going back to being a nurse in a hospital that wasn't hers. From that moment on, Carla's life had turned into a nightmare. When she learned that Matteo had been admitted to Verona after an appendicitis operation that had gone badly, she didn't think twice. She did everything she could to get a job at that very hospital. The first days of work were hard. The pediatric ward where she was assigned put her to the test emotionally, but every smile of a child, every gesture of gratitude from the families gave her the strength to go on. However, there was always that room at the end of the corridor that unsettled her. No one ever spoke about what happened inside, and very few nurses had access to that mysterious patient. The woman felt a hint of pain every time she passed in front of that closed door, until her curiosity won. She asked her colleague Alessia for information, who, in a low and sad voice, revealed the truth. In the room lay a boy named Matteo, who had fallen into a coma after an operation that had gone wrong. No one came to visit him except a few nurses appointed by his father, a powerful man who had imposed the utmost secrecy on his son's conditions. Carla felt her heart tighten in a vice. Fate had played a cruel joke. That boy was her son. Her world seemed to collapse around her, but then she realized that this was her chance. From that moment on, she decided that she would do anything to be by Matteo's side, even if it had to be in secret. Every time she managed to enter the room, she observed him, talked to him, tried to convey to him all the love she felt, hoping that, even in that deep sleep, Matteo could perceive her presence. As the days passed, Carla's routine became more and more intense. She cared for the other patients with the same attention, but every thought, every breath was for Matteo. Then, one day, everything changed. A wave of patients flooded the hospital due to food poisoning at a children's party, and the nurses were forced to work non-stop. In the chaos, the head nurse asked Carla to take care of Matteo's room. This was the moment Carla had been waiting for, but also dreading. As she approached the door, her heart was pounding so hard it felt like it was going to burst out of her chest. Her hand was shaking as she grabbed the handle, and with a deep breath, she pushed open the door and stepped inside. If this story is moving you, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your support. Time seemed to stop when her eyes fell on Matteo, still on the bed. A wave of emotions overwhelmed her, and in that moment she understood how desperate her desire had been to hug her son, to hear his voice again. Tears streamed down her face as she slowly approached, placing a shaking hand on Matteo's pale face. "Matteo, I'm here. Mom is here," she whispered, her voice broken by emotion, while the pain of months of separation exploded in a stifled cry. That sentence, so full of love and desperation, seemed to break something in the air. What happened next was incredible. Matteo opened his eyes. His gaze wandered around the room, confused and lost, until it met his mother's. "Mom, is that you?" he murmured in a weak but hopeful voice. Carla felt her heart explode with joy. Finally, after so much pain, her child had returned to her. However, the joy of that moment was abruptly interrupted by Roberto's entrance into the room. Carla's face hardened when she saw him, and the same happened to Matteo's heart, who immediately sought refuge in his mother's arms. "I want to be with Mom," Matteo said, with a determination he had never shown before. Roberto tried to convince him otherwise, but it was clear that the bond between mother and son was stronger than anything. That same determination led Carla to fight with all her strength to get her son back. In the period that followed, the court was the scene of an intense legal battle, with Roberto trying to use every means possible to keep Matteo away from her. But Carla wasn't alone. The mothers of the children she had cared for joined her, testifying on her behalf and proving that no law could keep a mother away from her child. In the end, justice triumphed. The court recognized Carla's right to be with Matteo, understanding that a mother's love is an unstoppable force. Carla embraced her son, finally free from the burden of the past, ready to build a better future for both of them. A mother's love knows no bounds. It is a force that defies everything, even the deepest pain and suffering.